Good evening, in fact, all of you. Thanks for the first two sessions, which talked about more from operational excellence and also, I would say, part of your risk management. So my presentation, I like to focus mostly on 2-3 aspects on HSE performance management, from the aspects of cultural change, from the aspects of, I would say, effectiveness of HSE performance, leading to sustainability and the way forward. Because now HSE performance dimensions is extended some part to sustainability also. So I'll be talking on that aspects also. Keeping in the theme of creating safe and sustainable future through business excellence. And particularly the domain is HSE performance management. So I'm from DNVGL. It's a global classification, certification, technical assurance and advisory company, headquarters in Oslo, Norway. Our purpose is to safeguard life, property and the environment, which talks about the sustainability vision also. So what is a typical, I would say, HSE management system approach, which all we know since the evolution of standards like 14,000 or OSHA's or any other guidelines, protocols. It's actually through a PDC approach. So you plan maybe your strategy, you have your roadmap, you have your maybe directions, objectives, then check all these things in the doing aspect while through your risk management, I would say your integrity management, training assessment, regulatory compliance, check through monitoring, measurement, performance, audits and some performance indicators, and act of all those three through some management reviews, through some actions for continual improvement. So this is the traditional approach for any HSE performance management system, which was there for almost quite a decade. But now, so that had a relationship with the tools also, like the tools were primary tools available for improving HSE performance audits were to have HSE audits, maybe evaluation, risk management, and maybe do some incident reporting. But that was a reactive way of doing the risk management, and maybe from an environment perspective, do environmental aspect impact assessment and categorize the significant aspects as part of your, I would say, monitoring your objectives and targets and HSE performance. But over a period of time, that was only through a professional way of risk management, both from HSE perspective, and this used to build up, I would say, at least awareness on HSE culture and working environment to the people. It actually created some awareness to the people, including your, I would say, contractor workforce. And lastly, it also had a commitment from the management from the perspective of PDC approach. But that focused mostly on your lagging indicators. So as Drucker has rightly mentioned, you cannot manage what you can't measure. So it is always important that the company pledges and takes a commitment, including your communities, that we'll manage our HSE performance during all our business operations, including our, I would say, supply chain. So normally the things evolved from a PDC approach to a, I would say, traffic light indicator system, where people used to measure their HSE performance through some levels. Like the lead level said, maybe they are at a very low stage, and how they are jumping at the traffic. It talked about your performance levels. So green was a sustainable level approach where you had a very good system. So people used to rate their focus areas on HSE through this system, because it will be very important that you should be knowing where are your right track, so that you can always end up in achieving the right objectives. But even all these approaches which was there had a consistency from the global point of view. It talks about policies, practices, and I would say as it been applied consistently across operations. It ensured some safe and sustainable projects during delivery, and of course tried to promote positive health culture from a perspective of HSE management, and are they reflecting the behavior. So all these were some insights which thought that the HSE performance management will improve. But what was the challenge ahead? Can we do the same things now? Because doing the same things over and over again may not expect different results. So the challenge is to make a fundamental change in our HSE performance approach. So how we can do that? Maybe you have to now, you had a reliability system, you had affordability from the management to have HSE. So now progress towards sustainability from a HSE perspective. So are you able to sustain the indicators? If your leading and lagging indicators are showing a trend, can you sustain that? One event, it may be any event related to fatality or even a explosion or fire, which Mr. Devender had talked about, it will upside total your risk management. And also your all indicators will be challenged, right? So focus is now from HSE performance management is try to focus on HSE performance not from a, I would say, indicator perspective, but from a sustainable perspective. Can I sustain those indicators over a period of time? So some of these may be, I would say, difficult, but that is a challenge. So previously moving from lack of control to management control. So now the management or the board has to take HSE in their stride. So that may be maybe reviewing your systems to establish adequate management systems. It may be maybe some protocols. Many companies are moving from a management system to protocol systems because they feel there are more risks which are part of your systems which we enforce or take with the communities. So it is always increase your system approach to include some of the protocol requirements. Establish more defined work standards. Like I've seen in most of the companies, apart from the standards which ISO or OSHA's refers, they develop their own internal standards, work standards, so that the people work more safely. People have got a, I would say, clear approach of doing the work, especially in the process industries, and move from compliance to beyond compliance, especially with the performance standards. So that gives you maybe like a code of conduct. It's like a passport to work when you do any of these hazardous activities like confined space or lockout tagout or maybe working in any hazardous operations. So the challenge is, can we move from a lack of control to management control where all of us are part of this systems and performance management? But that will improve some, I would say, definite change from the performance and assurance also. So that has to be started from the organization culture, because unless the culture changes in the organization, it is very easy to implement a HSE management system, but as the culture changed of the organization, as the board level, as the top management looks from that angle. So leadership commitment, behaviors. Behavior monitoring is one of the, I would say, most critical challenges in today's HSE performance. It may be behavior-based safety, risk-based safety, it may be stop program, anything. So all these will be, are you committed to your values related to your HSE? Rules and regulations. How many of you actually fine your own employees or maybe issue a violation ticket to your own employees in case they find violation? It may be as simple as wearing a seat belt to as simple as not using a mobile phone in some of the hazardous operations, right? So are you committed to your rules and violations, rules and regulations as part of your systems? And finally, all these things from a culture perspective, leadership, commitment to your behavioral values, is it translated into objectives and targets? It may be your individual KPIs, it may be your organizational KPIs, team KPIs, and finally your maybe sustainable KPIs. So unless all these things drive from top to bottom, the HSE performance and the assurance from a sustainable perspective will not improve in the long run. So the challenge is what you think from the head as a knowledge, that is what you want to do. You have the capability to do it, that the hands, but the most important challenge is the heart. Do you have the motivation to do it? Because we can do it. So for a strong organization, it should be very important to correct all the three, the heads, heart and the heart, so that they have a sound HSE culture, especially in the evolution. Many of these organizations have the head and the hearts, but do they put the hearts also into it and try to have an evolution in the culture? That is a challenge. So for that, there will be some roles and responsibilities, behavior, which has to be changed, so we can do it. So many organizations still believe in a pathological, I would say, behavior, where we say unless the incident happens, we will not react. But can we go up the ladder? Can we start from pathological to reactive, to calculative, to proactive and generative? So these are some of the behavioral part which changes. So for that, not only what we have to do, but how we do it and how it is perceived within the organization. The perception concept is very important. Is the risk perception important for all of us? We have to look from that aspect. So the idea is to change from a pathological behavioral part to coming to a more reactive to a proactive, and maybe now in a generative approach also, right? Can we think of the risk much beyond in time? So all depends on the situation, culture, and the complexities of the organization, which all of you are met with. So definitely there are some tools, either you can motivate, support, or control these people. So motivation, the traditional carrot and stick approach or the hunter approach, you think what has to be done. Support, provide some tools, learnings, and control, yes, we can do it as organizational change. So all these will help you in the long run to be achieved. So from a process industry perspective, these concepts of barrier, which Devan also talked about. So all of us knows to measure the leading and lagging indicators or the API perspective, tier 1, tier 2 incidents. So these are always monitored as part of your, not even from HSE perspective, but also sustainability perspective. But the three important points which needs to be, I would say, reinforced from these proactive and reactive indicators is, where has the things gone wrong? Has it gone at the plant level? It may be related to engineering hardware, control systems, site layout, or any mitigant precautions, or it is the process level. Management system has failed, your risk mitigations has failed, your control improvement has failed, or the people does not have any knowledge, skills, or any experience, or the organization culture is so weak that it is a chalta hai attitude. We'll do it as we want it. If it is reactive, we'll take some actions. So challenge is to do it, how we take this concept from the people, plant and process requirements and strengthen the systems based on the reactive or proactive approach. So here we have got a root cause analysis stage, which we call the loss causation model. So nobody wants a loss to happen in the organization. It may be any unintended harm or damage related to the environment, safety or health. So nobody wants the threshold limit to pass, because once it passes, the loss is evident. It cannot be hidden. It has to be salvaged. So then you have to do some emergency response, do investigations, do some explosion controls, claims controls, salvage, cleanup, facility repair, waste control. So all these will only try to minimize losses, but learnings from there. So can we try to have a better role? So if the loss occurs, if we go from left to right, we'll come to know how the losses occurs. But that is not our challenge. That is not our sustainable way. So we have to be more from the reverse direction. Why losses are occurring? Why are these losses occurring? So those are the sites. So losses may occur at the initial stage where the event may happen. So can we have some better substitution of materials and equipments? Can we have some process where the reduction of energy is released? Can we have some surface modifications? Can we have some barricades and barriers, or strengthening the body and structure? Or lastly, to change the, I would say, behavioral part, can we go into the basic immediate causes, root causes, and the lack of control where the system is actually implementing us? Because please understand, this will help you to prevent the loss, which may be through your leading system administration, training, planned inspections, task analysis, observations, and finally your hiring and placement. Because final aim is prevention. Our goal is prevention. All of you know this Hendrik fed this bird. So we don't want the loss to happen. So better to record more near misses and more, I would say, incidents, so that the loss does not happen. We mitigate the losses from the threshold limit itself. So please focus on leading indicators. Be proactive. Take action because someone gets injured, any non-compliance happens, a client is disappointed, or any HSE performance culture is negatively impacted. Because in today's technological world, all these are reportable and it cannot be hidden. So more training, recognition, hazard recognition, elimination, management participation, BBS, inspections and reportings, near miss, trending and tracking will help you to focus on the leading indicators. So these are some of the performance for HSE from a sustainable perspective. Now apart from your injury rate and also your occupational injury rate, now people want to measure what are your motor vehicle incidents also, whatever incidents at various levels, 1, 2, 3, or even including a loss of containment. From an environment, apart from your COD, BOD and emissions, now they want to know what is your hazardous waste generation, your freshwater intake, direct and indirect emissions. So all these are now extended part of your HSE performance. And this is from the GRI perspective, all these in part of your HSE requirements. So who will benefit from HSE performance system maybe 10 years down the line? Because it will help in managing the risk and operating the organization. It will help drive sustainable business performance, and it will ensure business continuity. That is more important. And who will benefit from these? Maximum will be the employees, followed by the customers, because now customers are demanding. They want track performance of your HSE, including sustainability. And finally, your senior management, the board level, he is more at a comfort level. So stakeholders' opinion says all these management systems will help through better data analytics, and all these will help you in making data decision-making insights into your performance. So these are some sustainable development goals, the 6 sustainable development goals which was finalized last year. So now HSE has to extend from your HSE performance to something more monitoring on the sustainable development goals also in the long run, to enable sustainable business performance, because you will be creating value in the long run so as to bridge today and tomorrow and assuring performance in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you.